everyone, in today's video we are going to be talking about practice tests. So I'm going to be showing you how I go about to make them and answer them afterwards. But before we get started, I just want to stress out the importance of making practice tests and practicing answering questions before an exam. Because when you read all the material and you just look at all your textbooks and underline, I find this very static and it doesn't really give you enough feedback, like hardcore evidence that proves that you understand the material and that you're ready to take an exam. Whereas with practice tests, I find that, you actually see what questions or what topics you are less familiar with, what questions you got wrong, and what you should focus on. So it really encourages you and makes you sleep better at night when, you got 90% or 100% on your practice tests. I find this extremely ego boosting and reinforcing, and it makes you, like I said, sleep better at night before an exam and don't be so stressed out. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and show you what I do. Now, for diversity's sake, I picked a different subject this time. I usually show you psychology tests or some math here and there and some history or social sciences, but right now I wanted to switch it up and I actually took these actual practice tests that I did for a marketing class I took I think about a year ago. So, I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I told you I've done every type of class imaginable. So let's switch to business, shall we? This one is for marketing. So what I usually do is I create two types of practice tests. One for slides, so I ask questions on only on the slides for that class, and then I do a practice test with my textbook notes. So what I do literally is I go, after having read my slides and highlighted all the important concepts and whatnot, I go slide by slide and I look at it and I see, okay, in this slide I think there's gonna be a question about this. What is the marketing concept? What is marketing research? What is the key element of marketing research? Name the 4 uses of marketing research. So this is just to give you an example of what type of questions I ask myself. And like I mentioned, how I go about doing this is just take your slides one by one, look at each slide and say, I think there's gonna be a question about this. So I'm gonna try to act and put on my teacher hat and make a question about that topic. So this is basically what I do, just to show you, see how many slides I had to do? Oh my god. And you just go one by one. I'm just gonna keep showing you some example of questions so it can inspire you to create your own. Who conducts marketing research? Name the 2 types of firms and their specialties. Name 3 things that lead to the mistreatment of respondents and in the decrease in willingness to participate, and you give yourself all the dashes. Problems term 4, or you can do keywords like this. Leave a blank. X, state what the researcher must do. So these are all type of questions I ask myself. See here, I already started answering them. Again, some blanks. What I'm doing now, I'm just showing you different types of questions that I give myself, just to, like I said, inspire you to create your own and to see how much in detail I know. See, I gave a true or false here. Name a few projective tests, so a bunch, because I thought that he wouldn't go into detail and ask us all 7, right? So this is basically what my practice test looks like. I haven't had time to do this one. As you see, it's blank, but I think I did 2 previous ones. This was my 3rd and I got a bit sick of it. But that's what this one on the slides look like. So I'm gonna put that one aside and show you a completed one on slides. So what I like to do is the questions, I like to put them in black, and then my answers, I would answer them in a different color. So like in a real test. And afterwards, it's really easy to correct yourself because you just go by slides and you check it out to see what you got wrong, and you do a little check mark, or you just grade yourself. And at the end of the day, you have a clear grade. So you know what you did wrong and what you need to focus on. So that's a completed test on slides. Now with the textbook, I do exactly the same thing. So if you have textbook notes, just go page by page and see the key terms or anything that you found important that you think the professor might ask you on the test. Now this test for marketing in particular, they weren't quite your standard multiple choice. They were mostly short answers. So that's why you see a lot of memorization questions like name 3 ways to manage the cycle. Like if you don't know them, you're pretty much, yeah, you messed up. So I highly stressed on myself to know everything by heart, and I did a pretty good job. Or if not, I put it in my own words. But like, just to give you an example, there are some things that I just had to know, like name the 4 I's of services, which is intangible, inseparable, inconsistent, and inventory. So those you kind of have to know. But yes, this is an actual me doing a practice test. I just didn't have time to correct it. I think it was last minute. But yeah, this is just to show how much you know. You would be surprised. Like after I finish studying and I do my practice quiz or practice test, this thing goes so fast. I just write ding, 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 ding. So I really don't agree with people that tell me that, you know, practice tests are a waste of time. I highly encourage everyone, no matter what you're studying, to make practice tests for yourself, because it helps you, like I said, interact with the material. It helps you get instant feedback on how you're performing, how much of the material you know, and it just makes you less stressed, I find, because you know, you see a test before you do a test. So you're like, I've done this. It looks the same. And what I find insanely funny is that after, when I go do the actual test, some of the questions are exactly copy-paste the questions I thought of for myself. So it's really funny and extremely helpful. And like I said, I highly suggest you do some practice tests for yourself. Now this was just like a quick overview to hopefully inspire you and to kind of push you to design practice tests for yourself. But if there's anything that you would like me to go more into detail, or just to show you how I go about, like with the slides next to me, to see what type of questions I make for each topic, just let me know in the comments down below and it would be my pleasure to do so. And with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to me if you like what you see. I will definitely see you in my next video. Bye guys!